Look, everybody.
Wow.
He's back.
I was beginning to think I was never going to be back.
He's back.
But I am. And boy, am I damn glad to be here. How many weeks has it been? Is it 6, 7?
About 7, yeah.
It's been a long, long time.
It's been a bit of a stretch. You had an awful lot of people that were worried about you. I know you had a couple of moments where you were worried about you.
Oh, it got a little dicey. I don't know if you can tell, but I have dropped 52 pounds since the beginning of this thing, since the last time you saw me on the show.
If they were remaking that movie, he could do Ronald Reagan's part, Where's the Rest of Me?
Yeah, and the 52 pounds was not from any weight loss program or fitness regime. It was from starvation, because I had soft tissue cancer in my neck and in my mouth. The treatment for that is not only chemotherapy, but radiation, and intense radiation for, I had radiation 5 days a week for 6.5 weeks. And the resulting radiation, which killed the cancer cell, well, I haven't had that confirmed. I have a PET scan coming up early next month that will confirm whether or not I'm cancer free or not. But both of my oncologists are willing to wager their professional reputation on a complete cure. But the resulting radiation burns inside my mouth from the treatment caused me to not be able to speak, not be able to eat, swallow. I couldn't swallow anything thicker than this, water. And so I was trying to get as much nutrition through additives into water as I possibly could, and drinking beef broth and things like this, but nevertheless, the pounds just disappeared. So, well, it's not a serious cancer when you have these P16 soft tissue cancers in the neck.
If it's your cancer, it's a serious cancer.
Well, I mean, it's not as dire a cancer pronunciation as, say, cancer in your lungs or your kidneys or
pancreatic
your
cancer,
pancreatic cancer, which is almost always a death sentence. Although you and I did meet a woman who survived pancreatic cancer.
Yes.
The treatment is dire, and I'm not trying to curry favor. I'm just trying to explain to you all why I've been gone for 7 weeks. I reached a point where I was so crashed out from lack of nutrition that I couldn't get up off the sofa. I couldn't stand. I had to get my wife to come help stand me up on my own 2 feet, just to go up and down the hall to go to the bathroom. It's a very serious treatment, and I'm glad it's over. But kudos to Mary Bird Perkins, Our Lady of the Lake Cancer Center. They are wonderful, wonderful people, every one of them.
Now, you know, I think everybody that has a serious health condition goes through this. You and I talked about it, you know, when they first started looking at you. And one of the things that was said was, you know, depending on the severity of the treatment and how it leaves you, there are some people that might say, no, I don't want to go through that. Now, this was pretty severe in terms of the treatment.
Yeah.
What do you think at this end of it now?
I got to tell you, the other day, Mary Ann asked me, my wife Mary Ann, she asked me, what if you go get that PET scan and they say you still have cancer cells? It's like, I don't know if I can do that again.
Thanks for the cheery thought, darling.
Well, she's big on being prepared for any scenario. And that's helped us a lot in our 33 years together, being prepared for any best case and worst case. But I honestly don't know what I'd do if they said, you've got to do it all over again.
Well, it's highly unlikely that they're going to find cancer cells.
No, I think there's probably about a 99% chance that I'm going to be completely cured of this thing.
But if they do, it's also highly unlikely that you'll have the same treatment regimen.
Let's hope not, anyway.
Well, they're not going to want to put you through that again. They're going to want to do something else. But, you know, isn't it amazing? Because 30 years ago, this was not considered to be an extremely curable cancer. It was treatable. You could prolong life.
It was treatable in that a surgeon would go in and do their best to get it out, but if they didn't get it all, they didn't get it all.
Mm-hmm.
And if a tiny little, amount of cancer cells started to grow again, there was little more they could do than perform more surgery. This little bit of chemo, a lot of radiation, And that's what I think is so wonderful about Mary Bird and places like MD Anderson and other great cancer research centers, is that more and more cancers are being cured. More and more people are being pronounced cancer-free of all sorts of cancers, uterine cancer, lung cancers.
Breast cancer is very curable now.
Lung cancers are being dissolved and shrunk down to nothing. And yeah, I actually know a woman who is a breast cancer survivor and has been pronounced cancer-free. It's just amazing, the ground that we've covered in, as you said, just the last 30 years.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, you've already told this to me one time, and I find it very moving, and I want to ask you to tell everybody about this. Not about the radiation, not about the chemo, but about the people and,
I'd be glad to.
And the way they became close to Kevin Gallagher during your treatment.
Oh, yes.
Back in a moment on Exiles TV.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Back to Exiles TV. I'm Bill Profita. He is Kevin Gallagher.
That is the rumor.
It was not a vacation, folks. It certainly wasn't a picnic.
No, it was not a vacation. That's for sure.
We're talking about Kevin's cancer treatment, which everybody from the medical side of his treatment is pretty sure it's going to be 100% successful, and we certainly feel that way as well.
By the way, to clarify just a little bit, my cancer treatments actually ended the last week of May.
I know. This has been the recovery.
I spent the entire month of June mostly on the sofa, just recovering from this thing and trying to learn how to eat again and trying to gain some weight back.
Well, you almost crashed yourself from malnutrition.
I'm not going to open my shirt and show it to you, but I still have a feeding tube in my stomach right here. And for a while there, my only nourishment I was able to get was through the feeding tube, liquid nutrition. And the reason I had that, I resisted that as long as I could. They kept threatening me with, you got to eat, or we're going to have to put a feeding tube in you. And
I've seen that movie before.
Yeah, and I resisted it as long as I could. But one day when I was in there, and I managed to drag myself to 95% of my treatments and appointments. And,
you're insane.
And walk to, I started using a cane towards the end, but my second to last visit with my chemo oncologist, He said, I'm looking at your blood work and you're crashing. Your kidneys are crashing. He says your organs are going to turn and start. Your body's going to start eating your internal organs. And he said, tube. You have no choice. Tube. And once I got the feeding tube in, I started to actually feel a little bit better. But
tell me about the people that you encountered.
I got to tell you, there are other places where you can have cancers treated. The other hospitals in town have cancer programs. But if you have a choice, go to Mary Bird Perkins. And it's not just the expertise of the doctors, the oncologists, the surgeons, which they have gone to great lengths and great expense to recruit some of the very, very finest in the nation in their field. But it goes from the top right down to the bottom. Everyone there is kind and compassionate and gentle and understanding. And I forged relationships with people where it'd be like when I went in for radiation, there's Mary, she's the receptionist at radiation. And it's like, hey, Mr. Gallagher, well, she actually called me Kevin Z. I don't know where she got the Z, but she just started calling me Kevin Z. And, it's, hey, Mary, hey, Kevin Z. Sometimes Mary wasn't there and it was David. David was a floater. Sometimes I'd see him in radiation. Sometimes I'd see him up in the 6th floor in the infusion center. But we all knew each other by first names. Again, Arlen, one of the nurses in the radiation oncology department, first name basis with her. How are you? And it wasn't like where they would just weigh you and take your BP and then leave you alone in the room for 15 minutes waiting for the doctor. First of all, I don't think I ever, when I had doctor appointments with my oncologist, I don't think I ever waited more than 5, maybe 10 minutes at the max.
That's amazing.
For my doctor to be in after the nurse had taken my vitals and given me a general questionnaire. And the questionnaire was with concern, and they weren't just going down a list and going, hey, are you doing this, are you doing that? They would, how is it going for you? How are you feeling? Are you depressed? What are you worried about? They really genuinely cared about me and my psychological well-being as well as my physical well-being. Because that's, when you're undergoing cancer treatments, your state of mind is probably the most important thing. And if you don't stay mentally strong, you may not make it. And that's what happened to me towards the end. I started to lose my determination to beat this thing. And I had some pep talks. I also want to mention some other names. There are nutritionists. One named Lindsay, I understand she moved on to another job, but she was tremendous. Lindsay worked on the 6th floor in the infusion center, but every time I was in for infusion, Lindsay would visit with me while I was sitting in that chair, getting my chemo, and we'd talk about what I could eat, what I couldn't eat, how to beat this thing, how to work around it. She'd give me things that would help me. Here are free samples, you can get this on Amazon, blah, 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 these sorts of things. And then there's a woman that works down on the 1st floor whose name is Vidal. And
is it like Vidal Sassoon?
Yeah, but she is an utterly charming woman. And again, a real cheerleader. I mean, she's there for you. And without her help, and by the way, I had her phone number, both her cell phone and her business line. And she told me I could call her anytime, day or night, if I was having problems or questions. And that's just, every single one of them were more than just nurses or orderlies or what, I don't know what they call them now. Is orderly still proper use?
They probably call them techs.
Radiation techs. Every single one of them were just wonderful, good, kind, and gentle people. And I just can't say enough about Mary Bird Perkins.
Let me ask you the primary question. There is a fairly large school of thought in medicine, and it's in all kinds of critical care medicine, that says staff interaction leading to good patient attitudes leads to better outcomes more quickly. Do you believe that in your case?
I do after this. Some of my other hospital visits and hospital stays, I felt like they were just being happy and blowing smoke. But I think that was more my stinking thinking than it was the actual behavior of the hospital staff. But I believe now that that is absolutely the case. When you are surrounded by people that seem to care about you and care about the outcome, it's going to affect your outcome psychologically. And if you're thinking right, you're going to get better faster.
And this is consistent from the first day you walk through their door till the last time that you will walk through, because I guess you have to still go back for some follow-up.
I'm going to have follow-ups probably for at least a year, maybe more. They'll be less and less frequent, but yeah, they're going to want to make sure that I continue to be cancer-free. And I have no doubt that when I go in there on August the 5th, people will remember me, and they will remember my name. And it'll be, how you doing, Mr. Gallagher, or Kevin Z. And I actually kind of looking forward to seeing them.
What would you tell somebody today that finds a lump or a bump, or they've got some soreness that just won't go away, or they've got a little spot that they think is just too much time in Florida when they were a teenager, or they're having trouble in the morning going to the bathroom? What would you tell them?
Don't delay a day. Get it checked out as soon as you can get an appointment. If you've got to see your primary care physician first, do that. But if you can see a cancer physician, if it's skin, see a dermatologist. If it's throat, do what I did. I went and saw Stan Montalero, our personal friend, and he's my ENT. And Stan Montalero referred me to Dr. Sweeney, who is a neck surgeon at Mary Bird Perkins. But do not delay. Mine was stage 1. They caught it fast, they caught it early. You don't want it to go stage 2 or stage 3 because your chances of a complete recovery and being cancer-free lessen with every stage.
And sometimes I understand how this happens, and it's troublesome, but sometimes you have to insist with the primary care, look, I think this is really something. I want you to stick needles in my arm, do blood work, and get ready to send me off to somebody else. Sometimes you have to insist.
Yep. Now my ENT, Dr. Montalero, he was only with me a short while, and he realized this is something I need someone who does cancer to deal with. I thought, I was trying to be positive, and I was just thinking, it's a swollen lymph node, and maybe this guy can just do something about it. But he said, no, that's going to require surgery, and there's a good chance it could be cancer. I told this story on our podcast the other day when I saw Dr. Sweeney, who is regarded as one of the top 5 cancer neck surgeons in the nation. She told me, as she was examining me, she ran a scope up my nose, down my throat, and she told me, there's a certain smell that we associate with cancers in the neck, and I'm picking that smell. She could smell it in my neck. And she said, I'd warrant that it's cancer, and she wasn't wrong. The PET scan turned up cancer. Well, we did the surgery first. And the biopsy on the masses that they removed turned up positive. And then the PET scan showed where the cancer cells were lingering. And that's how they determined the course of treatment.
It's amazing.
It really is amazing. And it was, Bill, I won't lie to you, it was one of the toughest things I've ever undergone in my entire adult life.
But you were a trooper. At least the rest of us saw you as a real trooper.
I felt bad that I had to just kind of abandon ship on everything else in my life.
Hey,
this program, the podcast,
you were always here, even if you weren't here. Every day, all of us. We're talking about Kevin every single day.
You're going to make me cry.
Don't do that. We'll take a break. In a moment, back in a moment on Exiles TV.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
This is State Treasurer John Schroeder urging you to check your mailbox. We just mailed out $4.5 million of unclaimed property checks to people across Louisiana. Unclaimed property is lost money turned over to the Department of Treasury so we can return it to you. The process is so easy, you can claim it right from your phone. Check for yourself, check for your family, and don't forget to check your businesses. This is your money. Claim it. check your mailbox. And cash your check. It's that easy.
You're invited to the Bridal Show of the Future, a new twist on the typical bridal expo. Come out to experience the food, dancing, meet and greet, wedding event professionals, and win fantastic prizes. Friday, August 6th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. To purchase tickets, please visit thepostbridalshowgonzales.com or follow on Instagram. All proceeds benefiting the VFW Post 3693 of Gonzales. Support your local veterans.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Go where summer leads you in an award-winning Mazda CUV. Find yours during Mazda's season of discovery.
Call, click, or come by and discover your new Mazda today at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer. Team Mazda on Airline.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Bill Profita, Kevin Gallagher. On a serious note, this is something that people have been looking into now for a while in the East Baton Rouge Parish school system. I don't think anybody would say, oh, we don't have a bullying problem.
Oh, I would disagree.
You think there are people who deny we have a bullying problem in East Baton Rouge Parish Public Schools?
I think there are people that want to blow sunshine on the topic and pretend it's not a problem.
Perhaps you're right. But three different families in the last couple days have filed lawsuits against the East Baton Rouge Parish school system, claiming that they have turned a blind eye to bullying. Now, this is not just your average, you're goofy looking and everybody hates you.
It's not knocking your books out from under your arm.
Two of the students were beaten, and part of the bullying cadre taped it. So there is evidence of them beating these two kids. A third kid took his own life. His name is Trey Thiessen. He killed himself in 2019. His family said he was the target of bullies at Westdale. His mother said that she had filed 4 formal complaints with the school district prior to Thiessen killing himself. The family is seeking more than $2 million.
Wow.
Now, just self-preservation, Kevin, if you are the school system and you see 4 different formal complaints in writing, signed, not anonymous, don't you want to kind of do something to keep something further bad from happening?
I would think so. Get out ahead of it.
Mm-hmm.
Look at policies. Do some serious. I would talk to students. Get some frank discussion going with students and find out what's going on. What can we do about it? What do you suggest? Then, students may not give you useful suggestions, but maybe from their not useful suggestions, you could devise some kind of effective, useful policy.
Well, and one of the things that I see is that inaction here seems to be because of the nature of who the complainants are. The second family said their child was attacked just a month after Tyson killed himself at the same school. Third family has a special needs child who was targeted at the same school.
They were bullying a special needs kid?
And both of these were captured on video by the people who were doing the bullying. Now, the Ryan Thompson, the attorney representing all three families, says all of these cases gave the right type of notice to the school system for them to take action, and they didn't. Now, what's interesting is that while Channel 2 was doing some background on this story just day before yesterday, in the parking lot of the school, which is a public building paid for by taxpayers, that Latrice Griffin, I guess it's Latrice, L-E-T-R-E-C-E Griffin, came out to the parking lot and said she was instructed to deliver a message that they had to leave the property from the school board's lead attorney.
So she ran off the news media who were trying to gather more information on the story.
Yeah, she said, I came out to deliver the message from general counsel. So they're more worried about this, by the way, than they are the bullying. Because...
well, they've got a brand new school board president, doesn't need to start out his first year in service with a
pretty new superintendent.
I'm sorry that I'm talking about Dr. Narcisse.
Yeah, and you have a new president too of the board.
Doesn't necessarily want a pall cast on his first year in service. So yeah, I think they're whistling past the graveyard on this one.
But here's what's funny: they were more worried about Channel 2 reporting that the communications director came out and told them they had to leave than they are the bullying. They sent a response to Channel 2 saying, we have to clarify, the media and the public are always welcome at the school board office building at any time.
Just not on this topic.
Well, afterwards. They did it afterwards. Fairly convenient. But
after we told you to go, then we tell you you're welcome to stay.
Yeah. But
I'm going to call BS on that. Now, you mentioned earlier, you think that there's some socio-political aspect to why they don't want to look into or seek out and punish these bullies?
Well, the situation in the East Baton Rouge Parish Schools is somewhat dire in terms of academic achievement, in discipline, in number of suspensions, in fights on campus, in truancy. And Westdale is considered to be
one of the good schools.
One of the better schools. A good example of how a public school system can work with everybody involved. And I think if it were, another school in another zip code, they probably wouldn't have been dragging their feet. But because it's this school in this zip code, it's kind of like when your class valedictorian 3 days before graduation takes pictures of his junk and puts it on social media. What do? I think that they have been delaying moving on these bullying allegations because it is a school with a good reputation.
There's a whole other aspect to this. Now, you mentioned that some of these incidents were being taped because every kid's got a phone.
Oh, yeah.
And every phone is a video recorder. And nowadays, that's what young people, and sometimes not so young people, something terrible happens, and people, rather than wait in there and break it up, whip out their phone and start recording it. And I think the young are more guilty of it than most. Isn't there now a state law that says you may not post video of a violent act on social media?
Only if you're doing it for some sort of personal gain. Again, the legislature...
Why else would a school kid post, a beating up?
But see, here, they're talking about money. See, again, I called BS on that law when they proposed it in the legislature. Because they're basically trying to do what they did after the Green River Killer, and he wrote a book. And they said, okay, from now on, you can't benefit from your crime.
Kids don't post. They post for the likes and the hits. They don't care about
But what
money.
I'm saying is that makes it not illegal under the way that statute was very stupidly written.
Well, it worries me that young people just seem to get coarser and coarser and coarser. Is that proper use of the word?
You're right, but Kevin, think about it. No penalties. Think of the crap we would have done in school if there were no penalties.
That's why they get coarser and coarser and coarser. Is there's no consequence for their bad deeds.
Mm-hmm.
None. Because you can't. The worst, if they kill somebody, the worst you can do is lock them up till they're 21.
Yeah. And keep them anonymous. We'll never know who they are.
So there's very little consequence for kids that do this stuff. But bullying's always existed.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was violent bullying. Now, I was bullied somewhat in school until I gained a reputation for being, don't try bullying him.
Good with your fists.
I wasn't good with my fists. I was good with whatever else was handy.
Even better.
I would use a textbook, a loose leaf binder. And when I got older and started
dispenser, a desk.
when I started driving
my car.
Well, when I started driving a car, I carried the leg of a dining room chair right behind the seat of my car, and I used it on more than one occasion.
But only when necessary.
And then the bullying stopped for the remainder of my junior and senior year. But see, I had been raised, walk away from a fight, never throw the first punch, and all those good things. And I wound up getting, punched in the face, knocked down, things like that. And that was in the 1970s.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only imagine how much worse it is when I see these viral videos of 6 kids swarming one and kicking his guts in.
Mm-hmm. And after they get you up off the ground, you're thinking, well, certainly I'm never going to have to see these kids again. They're going to expel all of them.
They'll do the same damn thing tomorrow because nothing's going to happen to them.
Well, they'll sit and talk with them. They'll counsel them and say, you shouldn't have done that. You hurt his feelings. And in a great many ways, you diminish yourself as a person when you do this to someone
Look,
else.
a lot of bullied students don't want to go to faculty and the administration because they are afraid it'll only make things worse.
Yeah, I went to freaking Catholic school, and we had bullies. And at my height and weight, and there were a few of us that were about the same size, we were big-time targets. And we learned that the most effective thing to deal with bullies is having a good left cross, because they're always watching your right hand.
Well, the last thing bullies want is for you to fight back.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not kid ourselves. I don't care how good your school is. I don't care if you're sending your kid to a parochial school that costs you $15,000, $20,000 a year. There are bullies in that school.
Yeah, and we need to...
Sometimes the worst bullies are in the best of schools.
Well, and we need to up the ante. We need to have sure and swift penalties. Parents should not have to sue.
But I think this phenomenon now where kids are actually committing suicide because of bullying, and remember, this is not far from the first time it's happened here locally.
That's right.
Social media has contributed because the bullying it leaves the schoolyard and it carries on social media.
Well, and it carries to all kinds of people that the kid doesn't know, so he's got strangers or she's got strangers bullying him or her.
Mm-hmm.
A brief break. We'll be back with more on Exiles TV. Stick around.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
This is State Treasurer John Schroeder urging you to check your mailbox. We just mailed out $4.5 million of unclaimed property checks to people across Louisiana. Unclaimed property is lost money turned over to the Department of Treasury so we can return it to you. The process is so easy, you can claim it right from your phone. Check for yourself, check for your family, and don't forget to check your businesses. This is your money. Claim it. Check your mailbox. And cash your check. It's that easy.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
So we're talking about the problem of bullying in our schools. And make no mistake, if you got a kid in school, chances are he's either bullied, is a bully, or has at least witnessed it.
Yeah.
No matter what school.
You know, bullies always have their little toadies that kind of
bullies
hang around.
Always have a crowd of toadies. Bullies never take you on by themselves, ever, because they're cowards.
Yeah.
It's in the very nature of bullying that you're a coward.
And a lot of these poor kids hang out with the bullies to keep them from being bullied, keep themselves from being bullied.
So what's to be done about it? First of all, I don't think that school boards and school administrators and the president of the school, of the superintendent of schools, can afford to turn a blind eye to the problem. I think it's a problem that needs to be met head on. Now, we certainly can't meet force with force. We know that now. I was talking to you during the break about the former principal at Scotlandville Middle Magnet had his career ended for tapping a student with a stick trying to break up a fight.
Yep.
He didn't swing it. He didn't hit him with it. He was using the stick to try to get in between the two students, and one of them got a tap. And because that was captured on video, his career was over. That's, to me, an injustice. Sometimes you've got to break. You know, they tell you when a dog is misbehaving, you've got to do something to break its thinking. You've got to break it out of that mindset. And you know, you give it a tap. You give it a gentle foot to the side or something.
Newspaper
like that.
Usually works.
A swat with a newspaper. You've got to break its thinking. That's the same thing when students are fighting. You've got to get in there and snap their mind out of it. And unfortunately, that requires something that's akin to a violent act.
Well, yeah, you know, I think you have to look at the mind of the average garden variety bully. The average garden variety bully achieves his or her, and a lot more female bullies now, power.
Oh, yeah.
From intimidating or abusing someone who is not as big, not as strong, doesn't have as many friends as they. And they can do it with impunity. They get off on it because they will laugh. If they get caught and you say, Sarah Jane, you shouldn't be calling Mary all those awful names. That's a terrible thing to do, and we will not tolerate it here. So you think about that young lady. She walks away laughing her butt off. You know, the kid who beat these kids, you can't just sit there and say, Johnny, you cannot beat on other kids.
Now, Bobby.
But you know what? If you see him, or you see him in the video, and you haul him in front of the school assembly and say, look at this video, this is what Bobby did. And then you give it to Bobby right in front of everybody where he gets good and embarrassed and good and scared, he's done as a bully. He is out of the bully business.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, if you don't do anything about bullying, what happens is you wind up, because we do social promotion in our schools, let's not kid ourselves about that. Every year in East Baton Rouge Parish, hundreds of students are graduated that don't know their ass from their elbow because they haven't learned anything in school. Okay, so you don't do anything about them if they're bullies. What happens is you're now sending people out into society where they're going to continue that kind of behavior, and what do you get? You remember the waitress at Chili's on Bennington? Not Bennington, but Constitution Avenue, yeah. Where because she couldn't seat 9 women at the same table, those 9 women attacked her. You want to bet they were bullies in school, at least some of them.
Oh yeah.
You know, you got to learn. You got to break people out of that thought pattern and let them know that that's not acceptable behavior.
But you know, I mean, I don't know of any reason to immediately arrest a bully's behavior, which is really what you want. You don't want to give them the talking to, and the next day they go back and bully the people they bullied the day before twice as badly.
I like the idea if you've got them on tape and you know, call an assembly and bring them up on stage.
Show them the tape.
And roll the tape for the whole school to see, and then be like, now, Billy, what do you have to say for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Go.
Yeah. But that's the whole thing. Bullies' currency is getting away with it and bragging to their little cadre of toadies what they got away with. The minute you disarm them, they're done as bullies. Mm-hmm. The minute everybody else is watching out for them, they're done as bullies. And not only that, but I think what you do with that is you also have the kids that are getting bullied looking out for each other and showing that you, Mr. Bully, aren't the only one that can have strength in numbers. Mm-hmm. I've got strength in numbers too. You know, we're eyeballing you. But my goodness, one of the things this attorney is seeking, in addition to the monetary judgment, is he is seeking programs that tell people in schools how to identify bullying and that forces them to intervene. Mm-hmm. Now, I would have thought we already had both of those things.
Well, back in our day, most teachers or other school staff, if they saw something happening, they would intervene. Not because it was mandated, but because it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is, teachers are so afraid of their own administration, of the children, and of the parents of the children that they're paralyzed. They got no cover. Mm-hmm. Just like that vice principal at Scotlandville Magnet.
Yeah, who was on his side?
He was trying to break up a fight that was, I saw the video, that fight was violent.
Yep.
He was trying to keep somebody from getting seriously hurt, and he had no cover. Nobody had his back. Mm-hmm. Nobody.
Hell, he was surrounded by angry students telling him to butt out.
These are high school students, they're big.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of them, you know, have a weight advantage on your average adult because, you know, kids eat good these days.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing that I worry about is that this lawsuit is not going to stay in the news cycle. They haven't mentioned whether or not they've got a trial date or a conference to set a trial. Nope. You know, and the school board has attorneys that can delay this forever and ever and ever and ever.
And powerful people don't want it in the news cycle. Mm-hmm. Trust me. You know, that reporter who's trying to cover that is going to have to stay on it. Mm-hmm. And God forbid that his superiors or her superiors, I don't know.
It's Chris Nakamoto.
It's Chris.
Yeah.
God forbid somebody tells Chris back off on that story. And I'm sorry, that does happen to investigative reporters.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes they get fired.
Well, considering the money in this city and in this parish is not terribly enthralled with our public school system. The money is in all the many private schools. That may help keep the light on this type of a story.
Well, if there's a more exodus of students from the public schools, whether they go to private schools, whether they go to homeschooling, that's going to affect what? The MFP, the amount of money that public schools get from the state that's based on student enrollment. And maybe if they hemorrhage enough students, they'll start to understand that something needs to be done.
Well, and I have got to wonder if in fact somebody didn't break either state or federal law by not acting on the 4 different completed and filed formal complaints for the dead student that the Thiessen family filed. Now, I think you have a mandatory duty, if you get a formal complaint about bullying, either under the federal law or state law. And I think it's not covered in this story from Chris. I think somebody's got some explaining to do as to why it needed 4 complaints rather than just 1, and why nothing apparently was done.
I think that there's a lot of splaining that needs to be done. And I think that we really need to hold the school system, the new superintendent, and the school board more accountable for what goes on in these schools.
Well, and it's a whole nother story. We're up against the break. But accountability in schools is not really going to change until the school board has their little monarchies dissolved and they run at large, where they have to be responsible to the entire parish.
Yep. We'll be right back with more Exiles TV. Stay back.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
You're invited to the Bridal Show of the Future, a new twist on the typical bridal expo. Come out to experience the food, dancing, meet and greet, wedding event professionals, and win fantastic prizes. Friday, August 6th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. To purchase tickets, please visit thepostbridalshowgonzales.com or follow on Instagram. All proceeds benefiting the VFW Post 3693 of Gonzales. Support your local veterans.
The all-new 22 Civic, now on sale at Team Honda on Siegen Lane.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, welcome back to Exiles, and I'm Kevin. Glad to be back after 7 weeks.
Yeah, glad. You know, you may not have had time to pay attention to this while you were convalescing, but poor Britney Spears. Poor Britney. She is so
Free Britney.
Free. Well, Britney has got a new lawyer, and her new lawyer petitioned Matthew Rosengart. He's a nice boy. He's single. Matthew.
Nice Jewish boy.
Nice boy.
If you're going to get a lawyer, get a Jewish lawyer.
Yeah. He filed that the current legal arrangement for Britney has grown increasingly toxic and is simply no longer tenable. So, for her part, in the first hearing, which was, I'm sure you didn't see this because you were really down during this one.
Plus, it was probably not something I would have stopped to watch.
So, when it was her turn to speak in front of the judge, she dropped like 16 F-bombs in 2.5 minutes.
Well, that doesn't point to a good mental state.
No, it doesn't.
You should understand your surroundings and your situation and act accordingly.
And then ahead of this one, just 2 days ago, knowing that her attorney was going to file,
there it is on the international news.
She took 4 pictures of herself wearing nothing but a pair of unbuttoned, unzipped Daisy Dukes, and
her long hair covering her upper bits.
No, she was actually holding them.
Oh, hand bra.
And I'm not sure, but I think there was a message that says, "Look, Judge, all I gotta manage is these. For what do I need a conservator? I'm 40. Pretty soon gravity's going to win anyway." I'm thinking that's the point.
Well, that certainly is crass behavior, but is it an indicator of her mental illness? I don't think a 40-year-old woman should be denied control of her own earnings. No. I'm sorry. The conservatorship should have ended when she turned a reasonable age in her 20s.
Well, the conservatorship actually started after.
I think she was in her 30s when it began, wasn't it?
Well, she's 40 now. It was 13 years, so she was 27. And as I remember it, she was acting very erratically.
Well, that was when she attacked a paparazzi with a baby carriage.
Yeah. She was drinking.
She beat a car with an umbrella.
And she
shaved her head suddenly.
She gave away hundreds of thousands of dollars. I am writing to you from Nigeria. If I could only get, And so her family said, she's going to be broken on the street if we don't do something. And she couldn't mount a defense at that time that made sense to the judge. Now, at this point in time, if she wants to blow her cheese, let her blow her cheese.
If she can continue to perform and earn, she should have control of her own earnings.
Yeah.
And I question a father who would fight to keep control of her millions.
Mm-hmm.
The Spears family is not unknown in these here parts.
Well, no, because they're from what?
From Kentwood.
Kentwood.
And I haven't heard a lot of people speak glowingly of Jamie Spears, her dad.
Well, his ex-wife doesn't think much of him.
Lynn.
Nice.
She's a nice lady. I met her.
She says that it's like being in prison with having him as her conservator. Now, I also think that her income is not just her income. I think her income is the whole family's income.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jamie Lynn the little sister earns some money.
Yeah.
Her career isn't exactly, on fire, but she does get booked to perform places.
Most people couldn't pick her out of a lineup. Whereas they would say in show business, it'd be hard for her to get arrested.
Well, let's put it this way. A lot of times the younger sister is the cute one, but that's not the case.
No. But I mean, what I see here is like, look, Britney Spears is not going to find a cure for cancer.
Mm-mm.
She's lucky if she can find the door handle on her own car, okay? She is a complete metal pygmy. But she's also a 40-year-old metal pygmy.
Yep.
And if she wants to give money to a TV reverend or a Nigerian exchange student,
it's her money.
It's her money. And you know what, James? You need to go out and make your own cheese. Stop living off your daughter. I mean, he was
100%.
her manager for a while.
100%.
And Brittany, next time you post pictures before you have a hearing, please keep all your clothes on. That would go a pretty good distance.
I'll do one more quick one. Stay off social media altogether for a while. Just stay off.
I mean,
yipes.
She is no rocket surgeon, as they say, but let her blow her money if she wants to.
All right, that wraps it up for us. We hope you'll tune in for the podcast on Facebook Live tomorrow morning at 8 from La Divina Italian Cafe and be back here Thursday at 12 noon.
Again, we are at Bayou Smokehouse, 10655 Coursey Boulevard in Baton Rouge. Great barbecue.
Old school barbecue.
Lunch and dinner 6 days a week if you're coming to visit Baton Rouge, because I know we go out to all kinds of parishes. Great place to stop and have a bite to eat. So, until next we meet, take care of yourselves. Is it raining again?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Just in time for Marty to get on his motorcycle.
His donor cycle.
God bless.
Stay well. Bye-bye.